Japan bought down their fucking tariffs. Why would you do that? Because you don't know what the future might hold, and you don't want to have that type of fucking commitment to a tariff regime when the world is fucking random. They also did trade deals and arms deals. Why? Because they're part of the first island chain, okay? And why is that important? Because we're trying to check China. And why is that important? Because, well, there are a bunch of greedy fucking bastards that infiltrate all the fucking world's banks and corporations and nations and whatever else, and we don't like that. They've been trying to open up ports in South America and Africa and everywhere else, and they need to go. So if you want to have them go, you need to make sure that they're properly contained in the first place, because they're always muscling in on the South China Sea or anywhere else they can get their greedy yellow hands on. So Japan needs to be stabilized. That's how important they are. They are the first island chain, the key partner, because Taiwan is right there. And why is Taiwan important? Because they control the chip manufacturing, which our entire economy is fucking based off of. And until those manufacturers make their move over to the United States, well, we have to keep sitting right there and protecting them, don't we? Now, with all of this going on, there's also the whole thing about oil. And remember, the United States increased oil production underneath Trump. And guess what he told the Saudis to do? And OPEC to increase oil production. And Canada also increased, which means that anything that's going on with Venezuela, guess what? It's already been factored in. So it doesn't matter. Because Canada and Venezuela produce the same type of shitty grade of oil that makes our infrastructure work. I mean, it's what our infrastructure was originally designed for, because the whole OPEC thing happened in the late 70s, and we had to start shipping in this mud from Venezuela and Canada and start to refine it. But, if you don't have a lot of it to go around, well, your throughput goes down, so does your profit margin. So you need to have a lot of it coming in via imports. And all this hubbub over Venezuela, guess what? It's offset by the Canadians who increased their oil production. Now, why is this important? Well, because oil is the lifeblood of all nations and all global stability. I mean, hell, gas just hit $2.49 up the street. But you got to remember what's at the end of this whole thing, and that is shifting the debt. Now, remember, all these nations have been weaning off, and I've been talking about this while the Treasury's been doing strategic buybacks from certain parties. Why? To shield them from the coming conversation. Meanwhile, the Fed announced that they're going to be purchasing. Now, why is all this important? Well, because it provides stability. It's Trump's ball globally, and stability is the goal. That's why he told the Canadians and the Saudis and everywhere else to increase oil production, because he knew he was going to be starting to pressure in Venezuela. You see, he always, makes sure all of his bases are covered. And he's going to do so with something like Japan, who's in the first island chain, to try and protect Taiwan. And we got to remember, too, the Genius Act is not effective yet. It will be. I'm glad it's been signed, but it's not effective yet. All the regulations are not done yet. And those stablecoin issuers are going to help buy short-term United States government debt. And then the Clarity Act, it's not even passed yet. It needs to be passed. Why? Because all of those regulations on how to use the digital assets. Because remember, we are the reserve currency in the world. And remember, it's Trump's fucking world, and he's straight up teabagging everyone. So you have to understand, when people start to talk to you about, oh, it's going to go to this price and that price and whatever else, they're trying to get views and clicks because they don't know shit. This is Trump's ball, and stability is the goal. So while these nations are weaning off that debt, the Fed's going to be purchasing. Guess what he's going to do after the nations have been sufficiently weaned off or gotten to a sufficient point? Trump is then going to say, well, we got a lot of debt based on fraud, and that will cause a panic sell in the markets. But remember, the nation's weaned off. So there's global stability, but just panic in a bond market, which will cause the Fed to buy back for pennies on the dollar. And they're probably going to want assets that the Fed has instead of Fed notes. Because remember, we're going towards stablecoins in the future. Who's going to want Fed notes? Who's going to want that? So, and the Fed has a lot of assets. So this is all about shifting the burden of the debt to where it should go, to the fraudsters in the first place, the motherfucking Fed. So I'm sorry, there's not going to be some domino theory and an oil spike and all this other shit. It's not going to happen. All right? And these are the reasons why. And I'll post all the evidence beneath the video. So join me again for another episode of Dystopian fucking Risk.